All right, let me get this set up and we will start the review stream. So here we go. Create this announcement. And yeah, it's good. Jump. Pretty much traditional start. Like which move you actually pincer by is really not, I don't really think it's like all that important, honestly. Whether the lower or the upper pincer. The upper pincer essentially stops people from putting pressure on. I feel like this is like too slow and not big enough to go that way. You do get like the corner, but it is kind of small. Yeah, I don't believe like this is fast enough. You don't get enough down here. Now, to be fair, White's not getting too much territory either. And there are problems with this kind of shape, but these two stones, like these two stones are definitely sacrificable because they are very, very light. I don't think this move was actually necessary. When I did this, I feel like he should have just like played another one of the corners. Um, because this group obviously wasn't under any real threat. I'm gonna just do this because this is actually pretty. I've played this a couple times. That's kind of weird. I think you should definitely play Q. I'm gonna go ahead and connect, but I definitely think you should have played Q18 here because instead of that, because you're giving me P16 for free at this point, which is definitely not something you really want to do. Yeah, it's good. I took the lower jump because there's already a stone here, so doing this is a little bit better. Seeing how the stone's here, I probably shouldn't have done this. I probably should have just like taken more of this side, but it's not a big deal. Because there isn't really too much territory over here, since this stone's already here. The other option here is G2, which might actually be better. But I don't think like influence this way is going to matter all that much. That's always a bad move. I know you want to fix the cut, but trading this for this is, I think, is too big of a point loss. And plus, like, I can't just like cut here anyways. It's okay. I'm just gonna jump here though. The potential here is quite limited. So I'm not really sure how much this influence is actually going to amount to, because like I said, the potential here is pretty limited. I have my head stuck out here. I already got all this bottom territory. Right now, neither white or black has a lot of territory. This one here is pretty important. That diminishes any real chance of any like big territory that he could possibly have there. I don't really see these disparate groups as really all that weak. And I'm just gonna do this now. This also fixes this cut here, which is why like part of the reason I'm playing that move. I'm just gonna keep taking like the bigger moves here because I don't think there's a way he can kill all of this. And if he's just playing on the outer, then it's really not that big. I can always sacrifice a couple of stones here. So to me, this is not that big of a deal. Um, that's actually letting me connect here is kind of confusing because the whole reason you would play these moves here is to actually attack these three stones. So letting me actually connect back here for free doesn't make too much sense. I could just sack that stone. It's not that big of a deal for me to do so. I think I'm just going to sacrifice that stone. It's not a huge deal for me to do so. I mean, like the stone itself is probably worth like 6, 7 points. Not a big deal. Letting me get this move and this move is going to be a much bigger deal. I don't see the point of that move at all. I'm gonna actually fix this. I don't even know if that's worth fixing right now. I guess so. Like sealing these stones in when I already have this doesn't really seem all that intuitive, because I can easily just do something like this and cut off these two right now. And I've just managed to seal this entire bottom territory, which I don't understand. Like like all your moves have to work together in unison, and you have to have like a kind of a plan or a purpose for the moves. And like playing this and then letting me connect here uh, kind of eliminates that purpose. Yes, you might be able to get a little bit of territory in the middle, but I mean, you let me get this move first of all, which is pretty big, and you're still lacking a lot here. If you actually play R12 and let me get the P10 move, you're kind of destroying some of your power in the middle. This is one of those like which way are you going to connect type of moves. Obviously, I'm going to do this. Okay, this one you have to connect. Because I'm not going to answer this first. I'm just going to take this. And like you letting me take that, first of all, it's a lot of points for me here. It makes your three group weak. And now you don't like, and then it kind of like destroys your influence that you built here. You're looking at, I know he's looking at these points here, but there's many ways to like kind of destroy those points there, and he's not going to get enough of them. And also, I'm also eyeing these three. So if he actually sacrifices these three, like if he actually sacrifices these three stones to get whatever territory that he wants there, um, it's not going to go well for him because those three stones are actually worth more points. Or going to be worth more points. I probably made a mistake there, actually. I shouldn't have done that. But I mean, regardless, either way, it's not really all that relevant. Oh, that's definitely a mistake. If he doubles Atari's here, I'm going to take this one. And now this side is broken. I don't really care if you take that one because there's no territory there to be made. So like this is where like a comprehensive combined plan is actually like you have to understand what you're doing with certain moves. And this is like he has a that's also um, he kind of has an idea of what he actually wants to do, but he's not like executing. Well, that's not going to work. But he doesn't really have like he's not putting it all together. This a comprehensive plan is very very important. You can't actually connect that. You have to go with me and go out. So like
You have won.
it's the lack of like a comprehensive plan that actually like kind of doomed him this game because I didn't actually play the opening all that well. Like I said, this was a bad move. I probably should have just played here. Because here like if I play here, you have this in the future, and that like right now it doesn't work, but like in the future that actually might cause problems. So I probably should just jumped out. So I did this. He does that, but see like whereas this does settle this group here, it's too slow right now. So you let me get this, which kind of like solidifies this, and then like coming down here is way too slow, because like it doesn't get you like in the it would be big in the end game. It would actually be really nice in the end game here, but we're at the beginning of the game and this is not worth enough points. So I'm actually just gonna go here and then just do the original Joseki. Now this I still think this is probably the best move if you're gonna do that and just build up this side. I feel like that's probably how I would play right now if I was black. But doing this, like when white does this, right? Like that says I want this kind of influence in this territory over here. So you've basically got to do that first. I mean, and cut the stone off. I mean, even if you don't take the stone, you have to cut this first. This is actually a pretty big corner. So, like you're not really taking the advantage that white is actually giving you here. So you doing this, I mean, white doesn't have to respond, but I don't like the double Atari. So letting white connect. You're basically giving up P16 for free. You're essentially giving up P16 for free, and you're not getting the corner space here. So that's definitely an advantage to white. Because like originally, I think about it. Originally, originally you would have actually had this, right? Like that would have been actually your shape. Now you're comparing that to essentially like this, which is not nearly as good of a shape. You're still missing the stone here, and I have like a little bit more territory here. So that's why you're losing out. And then of course I'm going to take this side. At this time I would if I was black, I would definitely pincer at this point because I already have this over here. I'm going to want a little bit more of this territory here. But this is actually it's not bad. I took the lower 3 instead of the upper 3 because like you already have a stone here. So he does that. I'm going to pincer. This pincer was probably a bad idea. I probably should have just done this. Let him do this and then like do something like this. Because the potential for territory over here is very limited. So this was a bad directional mistake by me. Or even like in this case, I could easily just do this and let him have, this. Because like I said, there's very limited territory over here. And I'm not really under threat if I do this. So I should have just played this way, gotten more over here on the side, and let him play over here. So that was a directional mistake by me. I pincer anyways. He does that. Generally, I do think this move is better. It gives black less pressuring moves. So I do this. I extend out. This is always a bad move. Okay, so like the trade between this and this is always a bad move because when you trade this and this, you're giving white all these points in here, and all you're really doing is protecting this cut, but this cut really isn't a thing. I can't just cut, Well, I mean, I can't just really cut here. I mean, this is a ladder for you. And yeah, that just doesn't really work. So trading this for this, it's like you're giving me several points for no reason. Because if you don't do this, you have the option of maybe doing this later. So like this just like gives me more territory, and it doesn't give black all that much. This is okay. This is, I mean, like this, I mean, using this, like, the reason I don't really care much about this influence is because, like, I already have these stones over here. They're kind of hard to attack, and you're very limited in your potential. So I'll gladly take the bottom territory. So having me jump up, this definitely limits your potential here. So you play this. I'm going to play this because this actually flattens you out quite a bit. And it gives me the option to, like, you know, mount like a 2 or a 3 leap over here. You do this. If you're going to respond to this, you could not respond to this at all. That's one move. You would actually Hane if you wanted to respond. Doing this just lets me get Sente, and of course, I'm going to just capture this territory over here. Also, like, this does actually fix this. I was actually looking at this too. This does actually fix this because now you have no way to escape. So that does actually solve my problem over here. So I'm ignoring that because I don't think you have, you don't really have enough to attack it. So there is like this kind of move. I would probably just go here and you'd kind of be stuck trying to attack this somehow. I don't think you could successfully attack this move, but to be safe, I could have actually played here as well. So I just went ahead and played here for the territory. And then you do this. I'm going to Hane up, do this. That honestly doesn't make any sense. Because generally, like if there was like a lot of potential for territory in here and I didn't have all these stones here, this would make sense because I would actually want to extend this. But the thing is, like, I don't really care if you Atari here. I can just connect. There's not really all that much there. So obviously, I'm just going to connect my stones. You do this. I'm just going to connect because, like I said, this is sacrificable. This is entirely sacrificable. This is not a big deal for me to sacrifice this particular stone. It's not worth all that much. So that's why I just connected on the bottom here. And this makes kind of like less sense because, like, you can't really threaten. If you actually poke here, I'm just going to connect the bottom. So this doesn't really make much sense at all. These three aren't in danger. The Atari is always Sente. So this move is sort of pointless. So I'm just going to go ahead and solidify the bottom that I would have actually lost. It is worth about 6, 7, 8 points. And so after doing this, like, I basically have all this bottom territory, and this stone isn't worth all that much. You have actually way too many problems here. Like, I can extend up here, I can jump here, I can extend here. So, like, there's not too much potential for territory here. I shouldn't have responded to this. This is an endgame move. I should not have responded to this. So I just went ahead and just connected this. I can always go C16 into D15, and I can just take those two as well. So it's not a big thing. So playing here, I don't think is a good move because obviously I'm going to play there, and this just gives me bottom territory. And I don't actually think the influence you're getting, the influence for territory you're getting up here is really worth it. So I'm going to Hane this way. That makes no sense at all. You have to connect this. Because letting me take this destroys any chance of territory you have here. And also, like, yeah, it destroys any chance of territory you have here. It makes me a lot thicker, and it puts pressure on these three stones. So you definitely should have connected. I would have probably kept on going up. And then, like, if you do this, like, you have some potential for territory in this area. Just say I do this. Like, this is always Sente for you. You at least have some potential here. It's not very much potential, but at least you have some potential. So doing that actually makes no sense, letting me take that. This obviously, like, there's just not much territory here to actually be had. Because, like, I can now just fly out. I can just, like, do this. Or even if I just Hane, it puts white in black in a really poor position. You know, so, and this just solidifies my territory down here. Because remember, like, before this, like, you had the option to do something like attach. You had the option to do something like this, or just, you know, invade in the middle here. But this just gives me, like, several points on the bottom. Like, you gave me, like, 10 points on the bottom. So, like, how much can you actually get here? Probably not all that much. And, like, if I do something like this now, you know, like, it's 15 points or so that you've given up on the bottom. And I'm not even sure if you can get 15 points up there. So I'm going to do this first. That reduces any kind. You can't really disconnect me. You have a lot of problems here. So this basically like there's no reason to actually put this home. If you really want the territory, you would go up here, but there's not much territory here, which is why I did that. So doing this allows me to actually attack these 3 stones. Now this double Hane was a mistake by me, I think. It's not that much of a mistake. I think the correct play here is to actually do something like this. Yes, it destroys. Yes, it does destroy your potential up here, but at least you get these 3 home back here, so I can't disconnect you. If you wanted to play that, but I mean, like, I guess the double Hane is fine. It's the double Hane is really the only play I would actually consider. So I don't really have any other choice. I have to Hane it. It's not too bad. If you do this, I'm definitely just going to gladly take this, because you getting this stone doesn't really do much for you. There's no potential for territory over here. Me getting this stone destroys all your potential for territory over here. So that's definitely a win for white. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. There's no point in doing that. If I do this, you definitely want to do this. And if I do this, like, you might want to Atari first and then do this. So there's at least some potential. Not very much, but some potential for territory here. I could do this, but if you do this, you can see you get a couple of points there. So doing that, like, you're basically trying to shield these, like, 4 points in here. So, like, in the end, black essentially gave up like maybe 10, 15 points down here. You definitely gave up like 10, 15 points here. And in the end, you got like 4 points here. Obviously, white's going to do that. You obviously can't connect. You have to do this at this point. And that's a ko right there. So, and the other reason, obviously, you need to do this is because you don't want me to Atari there. So that obviously is like dead now. And that's where the game ends. So basically, like, I think like trying to get a little too much territory down here and giving up Sente, that's the first mistake. And then obviously like trading D4 for C3. I see a lot of players doing this, and that's always a bad mistake because you're not really fixing anything and you're giving me territory. And once again, trying to concentrate too much on the center territory, which is really hard to get, and then giving up a lot of territory on the sides. Those are like really, really bad mistakes that a lot of players in this rank actually make. Like if you see Dan players play, if you watch other Dan players, like they wouldn't do, well, most of them wouldn't do moves like this unless it's absolutely necessary. And they wouldn't actually give up so much on the side just for the chance of a little bit of center territory. And they definitely would have actually tried to put pressure, like after spending 3 or 4 moves here, they definitely would have tried harder to put pressure on this group to gain advantages. Because like cutting off this 1 stone and letting me connect is not enough advantage to make up for what you gave up on the other sides. So that's this game review, and I'm gonna play another game. So if someone else wants to accept the challenge, I'll wait for like 10 minutes. If no one accepts, I'll probably leave, but I'll wait for like 10 minutes for someone to actually accept this challenge. So the thing is like what I'm seeing with I've played a lot of games that are of a similar flavor recently, and what I'm actually seeing is the main problem I'm actually seeing with a lot of like lower SDK players is they do obsess too much over the center. And actually like obsessing way too much over the center is generally going to be without using influence to actually build it, is going to be a way to lose the game because you're sacrificing too much elsewhere. You always have to be aware of how much you're sacrificing to get the center territory. And if you're sacrificing more than what the center territory is worth, then you're obviously going to lose. So that is definitely like a mistake that I continuously see like lower SDK players make. And as you go into the upper SDKs, like people do realize like how much they're giving up versus like how much they're actually getting. So yeah, I'll wait until 4:10 Central Standard Time to actually accept another game. If no one takes my challenge, I will probably just leave and do other errands. But I wouldn't mind playing another teaching game right now because I have a little bit of time. I'll probably play one tomorrow because tomorrow's raining and I can't really do anything. Since it is actually raining. But it depends on what the weather is tomorrow, I guess. Waiting for someone to accept the game challenge. Give it 8 more. Give it 6 more minutes. That was actually an interesting game to actually play and review. Putin, go home. That is one problem with like OGS is that like there's not enough players. I'm hoping like a lot of these streams and stuff can actually change that because I actually really like OGS's interface. I don't know if they've actually made the default for auto match to turn analysis off. I really think they should do that, like for live games at least. I think analysis is perfectly fine for correspondence, but for live games, I definitely think analysis should be off because I think you learn way more with analysis off than analysis on. That's kind of like analysis off is really testing your true skill because like reading is part of the game, and with analysis on, you can always just play out the variations, which takes away that aspect of the game. I think like in terms of like ranking and like playing power, I think there's actually a really big cutoff around like 2 or 3k. Like players above that rank seems to just have like a lot better feel for the game, and players below that rank, like above two, like below 2 or 3k, like they're missing a certain type of like intuition that allows them to recognize like value in a certain way. I don't really know what the ranks of people that are watching this stream actually is. I really don't know what the rank of people that are actually watching these streams actually are. Like I feel like I think there's a lot just like outside that 10Q range or the outside the 12Q range. Cuz like I figured like some people like watching would be between 6 and 12K and would actually want to play. If you're 5K, I guess I can just change the thing to 5Q. I'll reverse it back to 6Q tomorrow, but like I guess I can just change it to 5Q if you would rather play that to accept. So I changed it. I did actually change it to 5Q. If you guys want to play. Like anything like 3 or 2Q, I would actually count as like a more like
game started.
As a more serious game, because like if I make mistakes around that rank, I can easily lose. A lot of the mistakes like for me against people I usually play with are very much recoverable. Whereas the mistakes, if I make them closer to if I make them closer to playing strength, it's much harder for me to recover from, which would actually be interesting. Also, like I'm spending a lot of my energy actually teaching. I do actually recommend that you turn off the. I do recommend you turn off the stream while you're playing me, because otherwise, a lot of times I feel like I'm playing myself, which is kind of weird. I think there has been the case where like one person, like 12K or something, I actually lost that game by half a point. I'm almost sure he used the AI on that one because a lot of the moves that he actually made, I'm like, there's no way he would make that move. Like they were way too intricate for someone of that rank to actually make. Like in the end, like he played the end game like so well. I'm like, wait, there's no way. Like there's like this is like calculating like 20 moves in advance based on what we're moving. So like there's like certain ways, like there's certain ways I can tell if someone's actually using the AI to play. And the thing is, like, there's certain moves that AIs would play that no human would actually play. So the thing here is you can play S5, which would be fine, but I know from playing in the past that Q5 is the correct move. Because the influence you gain from playing this move is more than what you would actually lose from losing this particular stone. And of course, getting a free move here is bigger than this stone here. I'm going to actually aid pressure because this is here. Yeah, you don't want to do that because it gives white a free Hane. I think like S13 is better than S14, even though it might look smaller. Like running yourself into like a white wall, like a wall like this, is generally not a good idea. Like I've played so many of these openings that like if I didn't play, if I hadn't played so many of the openings, I would have definitely made I would have definitely made I would have definitely played S5 instead of Q6 or Q5. But because I've actually reviewed so many games, I know for a fact that this is better than this. I probably should have done that move. I feel like I probably just taken the one space jump here. There is still Aji in the corner, by the way. I mean, it's not like the corner's not solidified. I'm just gonna play this. Kind of a strange move for now, I guess. I've been trying different ways of invading. I've definitely been trying different ways of invading. I'm definitely testing these things out. I don't think this is a good playing. Yeah, because of that, I don't think it's actually a good playing style. But we'll see. That's a weird way to answer. That is like a really weird ass way to answer. But okay. Let me see. I think I can do this. Yeah, I don't know about. Maybe I did this wrong. I shouldn't have done that. Definitely should not have done that. I don't know if this invasion was successful or not. Now that I look at it. probably the best thing to do here. Yeah, I probably screwed this up. This will work for me. This will actually work for me. I think it will anyways. I'm not exactly sure. Because there's definitely going to be something down here. See Atari here. Connect. I think this works. I'm gonna try this. If this doesn't work, I probably lose, but I'm gonna try it anyways. Oh, that's actually bad. Should not be doing that. Okay, I'm going to show you guys why I actually just did that. Because that makes this possible. I've been eyeing this for a long time. You do this. This is a Joseki that I've been watching this the whole time. The whole reason I did this was not to actually make this thing live, but to actually take this so I can actually kill him here. That's the entire reason I did that. And I needed to do this so he couldn't kill me in one breath here. I needed to make a Sentei Tiger's Eye. So that's why I did that. So like while I do win most of the games, while I do actually win most of the games by just shape, there are certain Tesujis like this particular one that stronger players will actually know. By the way, this invasion was awful by me. This invasion was awful by me. So let's go back and review this game. Let's go back and review this game. This is generally okay. I mean, I honestly prefer this. It's just, I mean, it might not give the shape impression that it's that big, but it's more solid. but that's fine. That's not really a mistake. This one, like, I feel like most players don't know the Joseki here. Like, the Joseki here is just essentially like this, and then black gets Sente. That's essentially the Joseki here. And a lot of people end up losing like a little bit of an advantage to me doing this. So I'm going to definitely do that. The correct move is to actually do this. But you do lose a little bit of an advantage. So doing this basically gets me a free move. And this isn't too great of a shape for black. So that pincer this way. I was thinking about pincering this way. I was definitely thinking about pincering this way and getting the territory here. But because this isn't fixed, I didn't want pressure on these 3 stones. So I did pincer this way. So this, like this, I believe is a better move. Because if you do this, like it doesn't make me as thick, and you always leave the S15 move. So, and the thing is, like, when you have 2 and 2, when you have 2 and 2 besides each other like this, like the Hane on top is always going to be pretty big, and I get the Hane on top because I have Sente here. So I don't think you do this. I think you almost have to Hane on. I would double Hane on it, by the ways, but I think you almost have to Hane here. He does this, gets me this move. He answers there, and then it gives me another Sente. This is okay. I would prefer the single jump, but it's kind of your preference. I go here, he does that. I extend this, he does that. That's kind of a testing invasion. I don't exactly know how to invade this. I mean, there's all kinds of invasions, but like realistically, none of them are that great for me. I could have probably just done this, and then he would probably have to do something like this, and it's not that much territory. So I think I went a little too deep here. It's not too bad of a mistake. This, maybe, I don't know, like, that might be a little too risky, honestly. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I can make 2 eyes down there, but I would have to strengthen his outside a lot. So not exactly sure how to, maybe I should just do this, because then if he does this, then if he does that, I can just go downwards. Not this way, sorry. If he does this, I can just go downwards. It seems like I'm giving him a lot of territory, but I'm cutting off these 2 stones, which in the end will probably be worth it. So I don't exactly know how to fix this. I'll actually have to explore this with Katago sometime. That gives him this move, which is fine. That's a weird answer, honestly. I would just go out here. Like if I was black, I would definitely just do this and then surround these stones. Yeah, it might be weak down there, but white's actually in quite a bit of trouble if you do this. So that's kind of a weird. That's bad by me. I should have just done this. I mean, you've already spent 1 move there. I should have done this. If you did this, that would be like mission accomplished for white. And then white would just go elsewhere. Because remember, white has this territory as well. So, yeah, this was just overgreeding by me. I'm going to leave that as it is. Yeah, this is much, much more important. Just getting the white group out and out of danger. That's not a good move. Once again, here, I think this is a better move. Like, this puts so much pressure on this white group, and you can get a lot of advantages by just attacking this white group. That's too slow for me. I probably should have gone here instead. Yeah, that's horrible for me. I should have just gone here instead, probably. Way too slow here. But that's, I mean, I think like you would do this first, right? I think black should do this first because white would be forced to not answer, and then you can put pressure on this group. See, because like right now, white has 2 weak groups, and black should take advantage of attacking both of them. So you would get this first. If I like do this, then you have a much clearer path like this. Like if you do this, if you did this, I would have to do like something like this, and then you could just attack. You could just basically attack this group. So I feel like using your advantage to weaken this group in preparation to attack this would probably be the better move. But doing this first, I feel like you just leave too many errors. Yeah, I should have done this first. This is not a good move. Also, like, I'm pretty sure you would, yeah, you would still kind of do this, right? Because it's not as good as it was before, but you would still do this and put pressure on this group first. And there's a lot more pressure on this group because I would actually have to do this. And then you can see like you get bottom territory and like I still have this group and this group's still not that strong. So you do need to fix some of your errors first. Letting me just push, definitely not good. Letting me cut and then doing that. That I feel like you would just ignore and you would fix the outside. Yes, there are problems in here, but I feel like you would just fix the outside. Because as white, I'm still not sure what I would do here. I would probably do something like this, but it still doesn't really give me two eyes. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could live down here. I'm pretty sure I could live down here, but you could like do this and I guess that would force me into something like this. I'm almost sure I could live down here. Because I'm almost sure I can live down here. But, I mean, I think black should strengthen their outside at this point. Because the outside's like, if you don't do this, the outside's like too weak. I don't know if this actually works right now. The reason I didn't do this immediately is because of this move. That's why I didn't do this immediately, and then black would win. So that's why that's actually why that's why I did the diversionary move of doing this first. Because as soon as I do this and you connect, you don't have that move anymore, and that's why this sequence actually works now. I'm not playing. I'm not going to play any more games today. I generally only play like 2 games a day. I hope I ban the right person this time. Like these porno things are just like so bad right now. So that's why that sequence actually works now. That's why the sequence actually works now. I just wanted to get the Sente here. And of course here, like when you see this, you would probably black would just go elsewhere. Probably make a move like this. But yeah, like I knew that if I fixed this issue, there was always going to be like this Tesuji here. So that's just one of the things that comes with playing strength, and eventually you will actually be able to see that eventually. But you know, it's just learning by mistake, like how you can squeeze liberties. Because I knew I couldn't do this before fixing this, because then you had the reverse as well. So that's where this game is. That's where that game was won. Nice little sequence there, but definitely a lot of mistakes on the outside that you could have just like... The thing about like when you attack a group, you don't have to kill a group. As long as you gain enough advantages, attacking the group is successful. So that's the lesson for today. Like and subscribe, hit the bell notifications button. I'll be back tomorrow.